Hello, everybody. I know I am late talking about the last two episodes of Beyond the Gates from Thursday and Friday, June 26th and 27th. But once I saw that the entire next week's episodes were going to be preempted and the show's not going to be on for an entire week, I was in a rush to actually watch these episodes. So yeah, I'm a day later than I would like to be, but it's going to be my only Beyond the Gates video for the next week plus because it won't be on. And I don't know if I necessarily like that CBS is doing that. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I could see maybe preempting the show on Friday, or maybe even Thursday and Friday for the holiday, but the entire week, it's shady, it's weird. I'm not going to read too much into it because the show has been renewed for another year. And maybe they want to just try and gain new viewers by showing the first week of episodes again. I have seen on Reddit some new fans over the past week starting to post there, like they're watching the show for the first time. So it has some potential to bring in new fans, but it's still a very weird decision. Anyway, going back to two episodes on Thursday, it wasn't my favorite episode of the week in an otherwise good week, but I liked a lot of the family moments that we did get. Anita returned to town kind of just for a visit, I think, and she got to catch up with everyone. The biggest thing was Anita finding out that Danny and Andre are sleeping together, and that's been the issue between Nicole and Danny lately. I like that Anita told Nicole that Danny sleeping with Andre has nothing to do with Nicole. But I do still understand Nicole's overall gripe. It really doesn't have anything to do with Danny and Andre per se. It's that she always feels like she's being left in the dark and lied to. So it was nice to see Nicole getting some therapy of her own from her mother, and maybe even a slight bit from Danny. They tried to work things out later in the episode. The other big thing for the Duprees in this episode came between Vernon and Anita, because while Anita is one of the few family members that actually knows what happened with Martin and this Kenny fellow 2 years ago, Vernon is decided to keep the truth from her about Kenny coming back and once again causing some drama with Martin. And as Vernon put it in the episode, he usually does not keep things from Anita, so this is actually a change of pace for these two's relationship. So yeah, I mean, we got some good family moments, some good character moments in general with the Duprees in Thursday's episode. I think the only other, two other big things happened. We got to talk about Ashley and Andre. Look, Ashley as a character sucks. They have written her to be pretty insufferable to me in general. And it doesn't help that she doesn't have chemistry with the men in the story she's supposed to be in, that being Derek and Andre. Even though they're going to push us with Andre and Ashley, there is not any chemistry. But also, they've written her in a way where she pushed Derek to extremes, causing fights about every little thing to make sure their relationship doesn't work. And then she is coming out of this long relationship and she immediately wants to ask Andre out. It's just stupid. They've written Ashley as unlikable for a character that really just sucks in general. So she just sucks and she's unlikable. I mean, whatever. They want to keep pushing this, but it sucks. So yeah, that was definitely a low light. Maybe that's why Thursday's episode was the worst episode of the week, because there was a little too much Andre and Ashley for me. Whatever. The other thing is Ted got Kat to help Eva a little bit at the new job and actually train her, even though Kat's probably going to try and sabotage her. You know, Kat's still also insufferable to me. Moving on to Friday's episode, I liked everything that we got with the plotting against Kenny once again. We have Martin continuing to be himself, in, you know, he's trying to keep his anger under wraps, his stress about the situation. And it's been nice to see Bill be the one to constantly have to calm him down in some of these past few episodes, especially since their relationship on the show to us started very. There was a lot of contempt between Bill and Martin, and Bill has always kind of lord this secret over Martin's head. So for him to be one of the biggest help with Martin in this whole thing with Kenny returning, it is good for the character of Bill. I think it adds a layer to his character. Joey was at the casino today. That's where Bill was to drop off the money to Kenny. Kenny thought he would be meeting Martin. Before Bill did meet with Kenny to drop off the money, we had an interesting scene with Joey trying to talk Bill into coming to do some more work for Joey and Joey's business dealings. Bill seems to want to stay away from that, at least for right now. But it's nice to see these two villains, as they've been portrayed to us, have these little moments. We know that Joey is a criminal. The show has made that clear. And we know that while Bill is maybe not considered full-on criminal, he does things that bend the law. So there are differences between the two characters, but maybe one day they'll have more in common than they do right now. Now, we've already had a lot of characters being brought into this whole thing with Martin to try and fix Martin's situation with this Kenny, and it's nice to see Randy again. It's been a while since we've seen him. He comes in to do something for Joey in this whole plan. Now, Bill meets with Kenny, gives him the money, and threatens him that he needs to leave town in 2 days. Bill calls himself the fixer, and Kenny does ask Bill if this means if he doesn't leave in 2 days, Bill's going to kill him. Bill says, no, that's not his job in this whole thing, basically. So when Kenny is counting the money, Randy comes in for our big cliffhanger on Friday, a cliffhanger that we're going to have to wait over a week for the show to return. He comes in with the gun and points it at Kenny. Now, I fully do not expect Randy to kill Kenny. I assume this is just to further scare Kenny into leaving town again. I am thinking it's not going to scare him away because the story is likely going to continue for at least a little while longer. Nonetheless, good to see Randy being used this way again, with Joey having to be hired to do this for Joey. And then in the preview for whenever the show returns, we see Randy talking with Doug and even Vanessa about being scared of Joey. So Randy's always been one of the many side characters on this show that I have wanted them to dive deeper into, along with the Shanices of the show. So hopefully this gives Randy more character development. That would be nice. Also in Friday's episode, I enjoyed Madison and Chelsea's kind of date. First off, Madison was late, and then they got interrupted by Chelsea's once throuple fling, Allison. Madison and Chelsea continue to grow on me as a couple. I do think the chemistry is there to make it work. And now that we're getting something being put in their way as a couple in classic soap fashion, maybe a triangle, I don't know. Allison interrupting them was kind of a lot because Allison is the one that made sure to dump Chelsea a little while ago, and Chelsea went into a tailspin before she met Madison, and they had this quick coupling that they're going through. And I'm glad Madison brought that up, that her and Chelsea's relationship is moving from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. It's good to see that talked about, but it's even better to see Allison kind of being brought back into maybe an obstacle in their way as a couple. Allison's telling Chelsea that she was actually feeling Chelsea and did want more than Chelsea, but it was her husband, Craig, I think his name is, that was jealous and didn't want her to pursue that. He would have ended their marriage. And now Allison is saying that she's afraid of Craig. He's really acting out and stuff. So I don't know. It adds something to the story. I don't know if I believe Allison fully or if they are going to go some crazy way with Craig where he is being scary, maybe abusive. But a possible love triangle here for Chelsea with two women. I do like it. And then Leslie was manipulating Eva again, although I do actually think this time Leslie was feeling lonely. She was having a flashback of when she kicked Eva out of the house. And now Leslie's telling Eva she feels so lonely without her. And while Eva did push back at her mother at first, they had a mother-daughter heart-to-heart. That Leslie has always been there for Eva. But in typical fashion, I can never exactly trust what Leslie is actually up to. We've seen her manipulate Eva emotionally before. This time, I do think Leslie was feeling some kind of way about herself, but it's been made clear that Leslie will do whatever she needs to do to get what she wants, even if that means using her own daughter. Of course, Kat and Jacob later arrived. I kind of fast forwarded a lot of them because I'm sick of them, just like I'm sick of Ashley and Andre and Derek. The Kat and Jacob investigation has been more annoying than nice to watch. But I think that about sums up both episodes. Very strong week overall. Sad that it's going to be off the air for an entire week. And we're going to have to wait until, like July 7th until the show returns with new episodes. Not great. Let's see. I do want to maybe go read some of y'all's comments on Wednesday's video, because I feel like there was some. Give me a second here as I pull it up. Well, of course, YouTube's being annoying. What else is new? Oh my god. Well, I'll read the ones that it's letting me see for some reason. Ray said, regardless on how Nicole was, Ted had his nerve speaking to Nicole like that after what he did. Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it was just nice to see Ted have a backbone, but I don't know. I want to care more about Ted and Nicole as a couple. Maybe they will make me care more over time, but right now is not the time. Ray also said that he is one of the ones that likes to look at Thomas. I'll just repeat my comment that they could recast a good-looking person as Tomas, but maybe a good-looking person that could actually act. That would actually be a nice change of pace. Ray also said Haley is really insecure. She's so worried about Denny that she's creating this fake-ass baby. She is so worried that Bill will leave the same way Bill left Denny. And she should be afraid that Bill will do that because Bill clearly has a history of cheating. So I think Haley is going to start to go to some extremes. We see in a preview that she's going to be having scenes with Leslie. That intrigues me. I've said all along that Haley and Eva needed to become friends because, you know, they're kind of in the same age bracket. Haley, I guess, a little older, but I would have liked to have seen that. But maybe Haley will find a intriguing and forceful ally in Leslie. So that was interesting. Sabritha Jennings said, I was cheering Ted on when he went in on Nicole. It must be hard for Little Miss Perfect. I even clapped for Andre when he was defending himself to her as she has authority over him. Nicole, your own daughter Kat is fighting your battles, aka Leslie, and she's just sitting around passing judgment. Nicole, the golden child, took after Anita. She lives in a bubble. It's hard for them to face the real realities of life and people. I mean, that was a read by Sabritha on the character of Nicole. I can't lie. I mean, I still do like the character of Nicole, and I don't feel like she was being super holier than thou this past week. I don't think that Nicole actually sees herself as perfect. I think she is being quite the victim to herself, though. She has made herself have this victim complex lately that is she's not dealing with well. But what Sabritha said that was very true is that Kat is fighting Nicole's battle for her. Pearly Cole said, when Bill decides he wants Danny back, I hope she's over him and in a relationship with someone who's handsome, successful, and an alpha male. Yeah, I do hope that the tide turns at some point, that Bill wants Danny back, but Danny doesn't want Bill back finally, and then Bill has to be the one to chase her again. That's the only way that I think that couple can be accepted as a real couple again without the toxicity, although I think the toxicity will probably always be there. Hemi said, I liked what Ted said to Nicole. Yes, she has every right to be upset, but it's giving misery loves company at this point. She knows damn well Danny is all right with Andre. Danny is the one using him. Nicole needs to find her some business. I mean, you're not wrong, Hemi. And then Blatant Truth said, the way you feel about Thomas is hilarious. I mean, yeah, there's a few of these characters that really have been rubbing me the wrong way. I think Tomas and Ashley are the two main ones right now that really just grind my gears. Although Kat, too, can be quite insufferable. Anyway, I guess I'll be back on July 7th when we finally start getting some new episodes again from this show.